In most countries, this would spark outrage, whispers, headlines, protests. But in Sweden, nobody even looks twice. Inside this exhibition, the human body isn't shocking. It isn't rebellious. It isn't controversial. It's just art. So why does Sweden see something completely different from the rest of the world? And why do tourists react so differently? To understand this, we have to look beyond the artwork and into Swedish culture itself. In most countries, a public gallery filled with depictions of the unclothed human form would cause a stir. It might spark outrage, ignite heated debates, or at the very least, become the subject of hushed whispers and nervous giggles. But here, in the softly lit halls of a Swedish museum, the atmosphere is entirely different. People walk by in a quiet, measured rhythm. They are calm. They are respectful. The art on the walls shows the human body, presented plainly and without spectacle. The visitors, seen only as gentle silhouettes to protect their privacy, do not gasp. They do not point. They simply observe, absorb, and reflect. The scene unfolds with a serene and almost meditative quality. Visitors of all ages move through the space with an unhurried grace, their movements deliberate and their focus clear. There is no sense of shock or scandal in the air. Instead, there is a profound sense of normalcy, a quiet acceptance that what is displayed here is not something to be sensationalized, but something to be understood as a fundamental part of the human experience and artistic expression. This lack of reaction is, in itself, a powerful statement. It speaks volumes about the cultural context in which this art is presented and received. The absence of drama is not a sign of indifference. Rather, it is a testament to a deeply ingrained perspective that separates the body from shame and views it as a natural subject for artistic inquiry. To understand the quiet halls of the Swedish Art Museum, one must first look outside its walls, into the broader culture that shapes the nation's people. Sweden has a deep and abiding connection with open spaces, both physically and metaphorically. The culture places a high value on calm, honesty, and directness. People tend to say what they mean, without excessive embellishment or unnecessary drama. This straightforward communication style extends into how they engage with the world, including the world of art. The human body is simply seen as a part of life, a natural vessel for the human experience. This perspective is reflected in the nation's cultural institutions. This cultural disposition is often linked to the Swedish concept of lagom, which roughly translates to just the right amount. It is a philosophy of moderation, balance, and avoiding extremes. This principle discourages loud, ostentatious displays of emotion and encourages a more measured, thoughtful response to life's events. When applied to the context of a museum, it means that art, even art that could be considered provocative elsewhere, is met with a sense of equilibrium. Furthermore, Swedish culture emphasizes a strong sense of trust in public institutions and in one another. There is a shared belief that public spaces, like museums, are safe environments curated with care and intention. This underlying trust removes the need for a defensive or suspicious posture. Visitors enter the gallery with the assumption that the curators have a valid artistic and educational purpose for their selections. This trust creates a virtuous cycle. The museum presents challenging work, and the public responds with a mature openness, reinforcing the museum's confidence to continue fostering an environment of intellectual freedom and artistic exploration. This environment of trust and calm is not accidental. It is cultivated over generations. It is part of the national identity, a quiet pride in being a society that can handle complex and sensitive subjects with maturity. The body, in this context, is not a battleground for moral debate, but a subject for scientific study, artistic representation, and personal understanding. It is demystified from a young age, treated as a natural and integral part of existence. Observing the dynamic between tourists and locals within the gallery offers a fascinating, real-time study in cultural contrast. Ask a tourist for their thoughts on the nude art, and their reaction is often immediate and expressive. They might let out a surprised laugh, a nervous titter that echoes slightly in the quiet space. Their eyes may widen. They instinctively reach for their phone to capture a secret photo. They whisper loudly to their companions, voices carrying disbelief or amusement. These are not inherently negative reactions. They are honest expressions of surprise born of different cultural norms. Visitors come from countless places around the globe, each with unique histories and social rules about the body. In many cultures, nudity is strictly private, rarely displayed in public spaces. Encountering an open, unapologetic display of the unclothed form can be jarring. Their reaction reflects the cultural gap between home and the place they are visiting. It shows how upbringing shapes what we find normal or shocking. Now, turn your attention to a local. Their pace is slower, more deliberate. They approach a work not with surprise, but with quiet curiosity. You see them lean in to read the small placard, taking in the artist, the year, the context behind the piece. They study brushstrokes, the use of light and shadow, the emotion in the subject's posture. For many Swedes, this isn't novel. It's a familiar ritual, often learned on school trips, learning to view analytically and appreciatively. This difference underscores a fundamental truth. Normalcy is learned. For the local, the nude in art has been part of their cultural education since childhood. They learned early art can mirror human existence, its joys, its sorrows, its vulnerabilities, and its strengths. The physical body becomes one element of a larger narrative, a component of composition, a vehicle for the artist's message, not the sole focus. Their calm is not performance. It's the natural result of a lifetime of conditioning. So, why do Swedes feel this pervasive sense of calm when faced with artworks that might provoke a stir elsewhere? The answer has deep roots, and a significant part of it lies in the nation's approach to history and education. Sweden possesses a long and rich artistic tradition. Artists have been depicting the human form for centuries. These works were not hidden away in private collections, but often displayed in public buildings, palaces, state-funded museums. Over generations, these images became part of the shared visual language, a familiar element of the public landscape that lost its power to shock. Education plays a crucial role in normalization. The Swedish school system integrates art history and appreciation into its curriculum. Children are not shielded from classical art or modern art that features nudity. They are taught to approach it with a critical, inquisitive mind. School groups are a common sight in museums. A group of young school children, seen from behind, sitting on the floor of a museum, as a teacher points to a classical sculpture of a human figure. Teachers guide students to look closely and think deeply. What do you see in this painting? How does this sculpture make you feel? What do you think the artist was trying to say? This early guided exposure shapes adult perspective. It demystifies the human body in art, not as forbidden or scandalous, but as a legitimate, important subject of creative expression. By learning the vocabulary of art, form, line, color, context, children gain tools to analyze without awkwardness or shame. This foundation builds a lifelong habit of looking with care and respect. The museum becomes an extension of the classroom, a space for learning and quiet contemplation, not culture shock. This philosophy reflects a broader cultural belief in transparency and knowledge. Understanding is the best antidote to fear and taboo. Exposing children to artistic heritage in controlled settings inoculates them against shock. The nude in art becomes part of the story of human creativity. It is this slow, steady, deliberate education that cultivates the calm atmosphere of Swedish galleries today. Beyond cultural history and education, simple principles of psychology also help explain the calm that pervades these spaces. One of the most powerful mechanisms at play is habituation. This is the process by which our response to a stimulus decreases after repeated or prolonged exposure. In simple terms, the more you see something, the less you react to it. A child who sees a classical painting with nudity during a school visit in elementary school and then sees more examples throughout their education will not be startled upon entering a gallery as an adult. The image has been rendered familiar and therefore normal. This repeated, gentle exposure effectively recalibrates the brain's response. The initial surprise or novelty wears off, allowing the mind to move past the superficial subject matter and engage with the artwork on a deeper level. Instead of being fixated on the fact of nudity, the viewer's attention is freed to consider other, more nuanced aspects of the work. The artist's technique, the emotional tone, the historical context, the symbolic meaning. Habituation transforms the experience from a visceral reaction into a cognitive one. Another critical psychological factor is framing. The way information is presented dramatically influences how we interpret and feel about it. In many cultures, the unclothed body is framed as a secret, something inherently private, sexual, or shameful. In Sweden, especially within the context of a museum, it is framed very differently. Art, history, science, a statement on the human condition. This simple shift in framing triggers a profound mental adjustment. It moves the brain out of a personal emotional response mode and into a more public, analytical one. The central question shifts from, "Why am I seeing this?" to, "What is the artist trying to communicate?" This mental reframing is a small but powerful cognitive leap that changes the entire dynamic of the room. When an object is placed on a pedestal in a quiet, well-lit gallery and accompanied by a descriptive label, it is instantly elevated from the mundane to the significant. The context tells us that this is something worthy of serious consideration. We are implicitly invited to set aside our personal biases and engage with the object as a cultural artifact. This framing effect is a testament to the power of context in shaping our perceptions and emotions, guiding us to see not just a body, but a story. The physical environment of the museum itself is a masterfully orchestrated element in maintaining this atmosphere of calm. Every detail, architecture, lighting, is designed to guide the visitor's experience and encourage a specific mode of behavior. The lighting is often soft and focused, drawing the eye toward the art and away from distractions. The walls are typically painted in neutral colors, creating a serene backdrop that allows the artworks to stand out without competing for attention. The high ceilings and open spaces of many galleries create a sense of reverence, which naturally encourages hushed voices and slower movements. The layout of the exhibition is another powerful tool. Curators carefully pace the visitor's journey, guiding them slowly from one piece to another, There are no sudden shocks or abrupt transitions. Instead, there is a narrative flow, a deliberate sequence that lets viewers gradually become accustomed. This careful pacing gives the visitor time to breathe, to think, and to process what they are seeing. In a chaotic, noisy environment like a busy street, an image of nudity might be jarring. But within the tranquil, ordered, and predictable gallery, the same image invites quiet contemplation. We can also look at the subtle influence of social behavior. Humans are inherently social creatures, and we take cues from those around us. This phenomenon, known as social proof, is at work in the Swedish museum. When a new visitor enters and sees everyone is quiet, respectful, contemplative, they are likely to adopt the same behavior. The unspoken rule, to be calm, is communicated through collective action. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle where the calm of locals influences tourists and the quiet norm is preserved. Finally, the presence of calm, unobtrusive museum staff contributes to the tone. Guards don't stand like sentinels, they move with quiet confidence, signaling this is a safe, well-managed space. Their relaxed demeanor shows there's nothing to be alarmed about. Lighting, layout, social cues, staff, all work together to create a holistically calm experience. The museum is not just a container for art, it actively shapes how that art is perceived. But how did Sweden get here? This state of calm acceptance was not an overnight development. It was the result of a long, deliberate historical journey. The mid-20th century, in particular, was a pivotal time. Following extensive public debate, Sweden made a conscious decision to invest heavily in culture and to make it accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy elite. Public funding for the arts increased. Museums were established or expanded with a clear mandate. Art should belong to all people. This democratic ideal changed the museum's role in society, from a rarefied space into a common ground for public education and enrichment. This period also saw the rise of progressive public health campaigns and of sex education campaigns that spoke about the human body openly and without shame. The primary goal was to promote health and well-being by providing clear, factual information. This movement, known as sexuella upleisning, worked to strip the body of mystery and taboo. By encouraging open and honest conversations about anatomy and health in schools and in public forums, it fostered a culture where the body could be discussed calmly and rationally. That pragmatic approach spilled over into how the body was viewed in art. The increasing globalization and immigration of recent decades further enriched the dialogue. New populations brought different perspectives and cultural values, turning public spaces like museums into sites for gentle cultural exchange. Artists responded, creating work that spoke to many experiences and viewpoints. The museum evolved into a meeting place, a space to hold diverse and sometimes conflicting ideas within respectful dialogue. The conversation continues, the approach to art and the body adapts and grows. Ultimately, the most powerful force in this evolution has been time itself. Cultural norms are not built in a day. They are passed down and reinforced from one generation to the next. Children who grew up with open discussions about the body became adults who took that openness for granted. Parents who took their children to museums helped create a generation for whom art and nudity were not shocking. Over decades, this steady transmission of values solidified the calm acceptance that characterizes Sweden today. What once might have caused debate has become a quiet, unremarkable part of life. In the end, the quiet that fills a Swedish art gallery is a choice. It is the cumulative result of a society that has consistently chosen education over ignorance, trust over suspicion, thoughtful contemplation over reactive shock. By choosing to frame the human body as a natural and worthy subject for artistic and intellectual inquiry, the culture has created a space where the artwork itself can finally speak without being muffled by controversy. The result is a calm room, a respectful silence where the artist's message can be heard clearly, and where the viewer is free to engage with it on their own terms. The images on the wall are plain in their honesty. The people observing them are plain in their calm demeanor. The conversation, though silent, is rich with unspoken questions and personal reflections. The environment does not demand a specific reaction. It simply invites a slow and considered one. It asks us to look beyond the surface and to consider what the image tells us about the artist, about the time it was made, about the universal aspects of the human condition. The room provides the space and the silence needed to begin to formulate an answer. As you step out of the museum and back into the soft hum of the city, a feeling may linger. It might be curiosity, it might be a sense of peace, it might even be a lingering feeling of being moved or unsettled. All of these responses are valid, for the art is not meant to be passively consumed, but to prompt a response, to make you think and feel. The silence of the gallery is an integral part of that process, a quiet space carved out of a noisy world to allow for that thinking and feeling to occur. The quiet is not an absence of meaning, but the very condition that allows meaning to arise. So, is it truly strange that Sweden views nude art as something so completely normal? Perhaps not, when one considers the slow, deliberate path that led to this moment. It is a path paved with trust, education, and a deep respect for both art and the public. The tourist's surprise and the local's calm are two sides of the same coin. Here, the body is seen, not as a secret, but as part of a story. And the ultimate question the experience leaves us with is a simple one. How do we, in our own lives, choose to see the world?